Hello everyone, welcome to Recursive Gaming, and my quick tips guide for Sands of Salzaar. This game is a lot of fun. There's just something about it that will absorb you and keep your attention for many more gaming hours than you intend to spend on it. It's just a very satisfying game to play. You're in for a great time. Now, let's get the guide started. Okay, first, you need to know that this video will be presented in sections, and I will try to keep them combined into logical groups with timestamps so you can find what you're looking for. Alright, here's the first section, getting the best start as a new player in the game. Tip number 1, your first run is only to get as many convenient legacy points as possible. You don't need to finish the main quest line. You don't even need to get every legacy point reward. This game can be very difficult, if only because there are so many elements left unexplained, and you can get so much better at the game after your first run, so don't feel bad if your first run doesn't go well. Just get as many legacy points as you can, and use them to set yourself up for a much easier second run, where you can focus on actually finishing the character story arc and the main quest line, as well as possibly unlocking any legacy points you couldn't get in your first trial run. So basically for this first tip, just remember, you don't need to finish the game to get your legacy points. Once unlocked on your first save, they count towards your next run. For this first run, you just need to learn the game and get the easiest legacy points you can to set yourself up properly for your second one. Here, look at my first save file. These are my legacy rewards that I unlocked. Now look where I am on the main quest line. Kill or talk to the Ifrit Voidmaster. Okay? I've basically made it impossible to finish the game without conquering everyone on the map because I declared war on the entire map. Every faction wants to kill me, including the guy I'm supposed to talk to progress the quest. This Ifrit Voidmaster wants to kill me, and I can't even talk to him. Every time I try, he just fights me instead, and he's too strong for me because I didn't play the game properly in this first save. I'm strong enough to do a lot of the stuff, as you can see, but not strong enough to actually finish the main quest line. So, I kind of screwed over myself in this first save, but that being said, I managed to get a lot of legacy reward points, so finishing the main quest line in my next run will be much easier. So, don't worry about finishing the main quest in your first save, just get as many legacy points as you can, and focus on it in your next one. Tip number 2. The easiest legacy rewards to unlock in your first run are the main level reward. Okay, this one right here. You will likely achieve max level as you are trying to unlock the other rewards anyways. Also the prestige reward. This is gained by simply playing the game. As you unlock the other rewards and become more powerful, your achievements will get this reward also. The dungeon rewards. Let's start here. These are easy because they are not time-based. You can wait until after day 120 if you want. However, they can be a little bit more challenging to complete because several of the dungeons only unlock after you complete their quests to open them first. However, since you're already probably trying to get the max level and max prestige legacy rewards, you will be doing all the quests that pop up on the map to unlock them anyways. This is not in my written script, but I want to show you this. Okay, so the quests I'm talking about are these ones. When you look at the map, these main quests will be popping up. These are the ones that you have to do to unlock different dungeons around the map. The quests that you do by talking to companions or other heroes and trying to get reputation with them, or talking to taverns and trying to get reputation with different factions, those quests aren't what I'm talking about. The dungeon unlocking quests always show up as these main icons like this on the map. Those are the only real quests that you need to worry about for completing these dungeon legacy rewards. All right, let me find out where I am on the script. Okay, so I'm just talking about which legacy rewards I'm talking about exactly. Okay, so we start with here, the Abandoned Redstone Mine Dungeon, the Pottery Workshop Dungeon, the Herb Valley Dungeon, Secret Hideout Dungeon, Sirocco Valley Dungeon, Forest Mirage Dungeon, Agadir Caves Dungeon, Snow Caverns Dungeon, Ritual Caverns Dungeon, Arbor Palace Dungeon, Leviathan Bone Caves, Pahoehoe, Lava Void Reward, Zagros Giant Formation. This was the last one I did. The Zagros Giant Formation dungeon. It is down here. Hold on. The Zagros Giant Formation. I had to do a quest that had me talking to somebody and giving him an Ifrit seared meat, right? Which is a specific quest item that you can buy and find in the world. I think I got the quest around here, and he was up here in this little camp. So I had to do this whole quest line in order to unlock the entrance to the Zagros Giant Formation. That's just a quick example. There are other examples for unlocking those dungeon rewards. Okay, next. Okay, it's also not too difficult to complete the legendary bosses within 120 days. I'm talking about these guys. Okay, it says before July, expires after 120 days. Complete earlier to earn more rewards. This is not necessarily true. I did not experience this. I completed this by day, I don't know, 100, day 110, right? So pretty close to the 120 days. I was not completing it much earlier than 120 days, and I still got full credit, as you can see. So I'm not sure what it's talking about earning more rewards by completing it earlier. I did not experience that. So I suggest giving yourself at least 10 days to track these bosses down and kill them. So you should get started no later than 110 days. I'm talking about this counter up here. See how it says 447 days? The requirement for killing these and getting the rewards here, the legacy rewards, is 120 days on that counter. Okay, so I completed it with just a few days to go before 120, and I got full credit. As you can see, I missed this one right here because I encountered her as I was exploring in the game before I knew about the requirements for doing these guys, these legendary bosses. So I failed that boss fight, right? And I thought, no big deal, it's too difficult, I'll come back to it later. Something to note is you only get one try at these bosses. So you always want to save before you fight them and then reload the save if you die. Because as you can see here, I lost my chance in this save, in this character, to actually get this legacy reward. So let me find out where I am in the script. I lose my place. I try not to ramble too much. Okay. This, save loading is also a good way to test how strong you are against these legendary bosses before you get to 120 days. If you're at 90 days and you think you have a strong enough team, go ahead and try to fight one of these bosses. The Soul Warrior, the Lizard Maiden, the Ice Princess, the Fallen One, the Wind Chaser. Okay, try to fight one of these guys, maybe day 90, day 80 if you think you're strong enough. Remember to save before you do it. If you die, you need to be a little bit stronger. Okay, so it's also a good way to test yourself as you're getting closer to that 120 days, just to make sure. You can do that as you're just passing them by. So this guide would end up several hours long if I included a full guide on each boss and each dungeon and all of their locations. This legendary boss information is easy to find as written guides by searching them on Google and on YouTube. So if I haven't posted videos showing all of their locations yet, I'm sorry, but I was able to find it easily, and it might be even easier to find it now. So as far as finding out where these legendary bosses are and how to unlock them and all that, that information is easy to find. All right, so the more difficult legacy rewards to acquire are up here: expert mode, the town planner, and all of the town treasure rewards. Okay, those are the more difficult ones to acquire. Expert mode is difficult because it does not allow you to reload previous saves unless you exit to the main menu before the battle ends. It saves after you exit each battle. So if you die fighting a legendary boss, okay, too bad. You lose the opportunity to get those reward points. The 20 points for expert mode aren't worth it until you've unlocked all the legacy rewards that you may need by reloading saves. Okay, so by not being able to reload saves, you lose the option to get a lot of these rewards. So save this for after you've unlocked the rest of them. Okay. The town planner reward is difficult because it requires you to conquer literally more than half the towns on the entire map. However, if you're considering moving to your second character because you're done getting easy points on your first one, it might be worth capturing a few of the easy towns, okay, not the main ones that are defended by the zone chiefs, but only the ones that are guarded by their weak subordinates instead, Still, this will only get you 5 points per town, and you may not want to invest that time, as it won't be quick unless you have a very strong team and you can just go from town to town, wiping out every force with ease. I guess it just depends on how strong your ending team is as you're about to switch to the new character. The town capture rewards may be easy for you to get if you've progressed far enough. See, I did manage to get every town capture reward on my first character, so it is possible. It just took a long time. The town treasure rewards are especially difficult because they require you to capture the most heavily defended towns on the map. In addition to that, it's not enough to simply capture the towns. You have to spend 15 jade at each one to fight the legendary town boss dungeons. You may not have enough jade for this on your first character. I know it took me a long time to farm all that jade for every town boss. However, again, I did manage to do it, so if you really want those legacy rewards for your second character, go right ahead. Okay, for the next tip, when trying to get the best start in Sands of Salzaar, let's talk about when you first begin the game. I recommend normal mode, not expert. Story mode. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and skip this intro. And first question is, who should your starting character be? Well, I recommend the Spirit Witch. She's listed as tier 3, 3-star difficulty, but that's honestly completely wrong. She's the most powerful and easiest to use hero in the game. I personally started with the 1-star rating Spiritmancer, but he was much weaker and more difficult to use than the Spirit Witch. His story quest was pretty interesting, however, and it seemed to fit in the game's overall main quest line very well, almost as if the game was developed with him as the only character you could play as initially, until they added the other heroes and their storylines. But the Spiritmancer's questline felt like the one which was intended to fit the game the most. The Spiritmancer also is not a bad choice as your first character because, and this is why I chose him, he can learn every arcana type. Spiritmancers may learn and complete any branch of talents. But specifically, you should say complete any branch of arcana. Because talents are different. But anyways, he can learn any arcana type and max it out. So I was interested in trying out all the different arcana, and that's a viable reason to choose him as your first character. It gives you an opportunity to learn all the different arcana types and get a feel for which ones you like best. For whenever you go on your next characters, you know what arcana to go for and what aren't very good. All right. That being said, you may wish to play all the characters that have plot quests. Down here it says plot quests. These ones don't have plot quests, so they don't have a storyline attached to them, okay? It may be in your interest to play all the characters that have plot quests because your main hero having a separate quest line is pretty fun and interesting and really makes the game better. Also, those hero story quests give you a lot more opportunities for additional battles that reward gear and experience. I recommend saving the Sultan for last, once you have a lot of legacy points. The base management system is really confusing, and his class is pretty weak, so the legacy points really help you get him some extra skills and bonuses. You need to know the game pretty well to have an easier time playing as the Sultan. Alright, next tip. We're going to choose Spirit Witch, okay? I'm going to call her Faye Valentine. Actually, I think it's spelled Y-E. Anyways, tell me if you know the reference for this name. Okay. The best legacy selection to use on your first run with the default 60 points. First, here are some general tips. Area of effect abilities are king. They make the game so much easier. The game's targeting system for single target skills is difficult to work with and can be frustrating. It's best to have quick cast for all your abilities turned on in the options, and using area of effect abilities that target a specific direction or area on the ground. This is much easier to use and more reliable damage. So, to start off with, consider getting these area skills. Okay, first, Deceptive Totem. This is for every class. Okay, Frost for magic classes, and Slicer for physical classes. Okay, look at this, 1500 cubits range. That's massive, and it lands a tier 3 bleed effect, and it has really good damage. So Slicer's excellent for physical. Frost freezes targets for 2 seconds, as well as doing pretty good damage in an area. So fireball might sound good, but look at the difference. This only has 200 cubits of range, which is actually really small, so it barely counts as a ranged attack. Or, I mean, as an area effect attack. Also, for instance, Flame Sprayer is magic damage, but it's based on physical attack. And it has a nice magic debuff, but if you're building physical attack, you're not really going to be focusing on magical damage. There are some exceptions to this, such as the Sultan, and that's part of the reason I said the Sultan is an advanced character. The Sultan has magic attacks based on physical attack, and he has physical attacks based on magic damage. So it kind of a very complicated character to use, and you really need to understand the game and how you build your characters, and what skills to pick and everything else. So 3 I recommend is the Deceptive Totem. Hold on, where is it? There it is. Deceptive Totem and Frost and Slicer. Okay. The Deceptive Totem, or sorry, summoning skills. Caution. Summons AI is terrible. Let's talk about summons. Down here, Call Wolf and Fire Elemental. The summons AI is terrible. You can't control them, and they generally don't have very many abilities. They just serve as additional units to get in the enemy's way and deal a little bit of damage while you focus on other skills and your auto attacks. In a way, they're like damage over time abilities that also keep the enemy out of your face. In general, most summon abilities aren't very good in the late game. That being said, you likely won't get to end game on your first run, so they're a great choice for your first or even second character. There's an exception for the Spiritmancer's ghost summons. Here, we can go down here and look at the Spiritmancer. It's called Shade. Summon Shade. They're terrible if you get their last upgrade, which makes them take 50% more damage. They basically end up getting one-shotted. They really aren't worth it at all. Okay, summon skills I recommend that you possibly take if you're interested is Call Wolf for any class. The health and damage, as you can see, for the wolf is based on skill level. It's not based on your personal magic attack or physical attack or any of your other stats. It's only based on the skill level, so it's going to be reliable based on whether you're magical or physical. Okay. Hold on, I need to find my place in my script. Fire Elemental for magic classes only. As you can see here, the health and damage of the Fire Elemental is based on skill level and magic attack, which makes it much better as a skill for magic characters. Okay. I like these summons more than the Spiritmancer's Ghosts because these upgrade to T3 and T5 summons with a large amount of health increase, making them stay alive and be useful for much longer. A quick important note. The Deceptive Totem skill is kind of a summon, but it doesn't move. What makes this the single best skill you can choose out of every option in the Legacy rewards. I'll say that one more time. Deceptive Totem is the best skill out of every option in the Legacy selection, and what makes it that way is because it has a massive 1000 range taunt, which counts as both a way to group the enemy up and make them easier to kill, and also preoccupying them to prevent damage against you and your team, and also, after being destroyed, it causes damage in a 500 range, then terror on the enemies for 6 seconds. So it's both offensive and defensive at the same time. Lastly, as you level up and equip yourself with better and better gear, the Deceptive Totem becomes more and more useful because its health and defenses are based off of your health and defense. So this skill will be massively useful from early game all the way to late game as you improve your character. It is a fantastic skill. Alright, next within your 60 points that I recommend you spend on your first run is Troop Limit. Being able to field a larger force means many of your battles will be much easier. This is true even if those additional troops remain unenhanced. Also, it allows you to get enough copies of the same units to combine them into their most powerful versions. Lastly, it becomes very easy to get additional troops at the end game. There are a lot of prison dungeons in the game that reward you with units every time you do them. In fact, you may even grind some of these particular dungeons to get multiple copies of the rarest units in the game so you can combine them into their ultimate versions. This can be frustrating to do if your troop limit is too low. Alright, use your last points for Sherpa, extra inventory slots. Inventory management can be frustrating in this game, so don't make my mistake. Don't sell off your items that you don't see a need for just to make room, unless it's gear that's the wrong type for your hero companions and therefore won't get used. If it's gifts to give away or rare exotic items for quests, you will be hating life if you suddenly can't complete a quest until you track down that one item that is only sold at a specific town. Okay. Hold on, I lost my spot. And it has a rare spawn chance, and you can't find anywhere online that tells you where to buy it, so you just have to go from town to town, always checking the traders until you finally find it and can finish your quest. You're better off just getting the extra inventory space and keeping those exotic items or herbs and flowers that you may need later on. So the extra item limit can help you avoid selling off stuff that you need to finish quests. Tip number 5. Then, what do you do when you have more legacy points after you've created and leveled up your first character? I suggest spending your extra legacy points on these selections. For reference, I've only completed the one save, I didn't finish the game, and I've got 388 legacy points to use on my second character. So it's totally possible to achieve this. I even, as you saw, missed the Frost legendary boss that you're supposed to kill within so many days. So at this point, you might have even more points than me to use. In fact, if you get that legendary boss, which gives you 12 points, then you would have exactly 400. Alright, so let's talk about the best stuff to get once you've got all those points on your next run. Alright, where is it? Yeah, here we go. Okay, Wisdom Crystals. This is the single most important selection. It does require you to complete the main quest line, so you may not have it after your first character. However, once you do have access to this, you will immediately understand why it's so important. Skill points are extremely rare and valuable in the game, and make a massive difference in the power of your character. Also, you can give these crystals to your companions to boost their skill levels also. Maxing out your Threnody is a great idea. She's that good. Alright, character limit. Your strategy for every run should be to immediately recruit the best free roaming companions in the game as fast as you can before they get recruited by their factions. This becomes much easier if you're not restricted to the default 2 companion slots you get before unlocking more in the talent tree, which takes a while, and there are much better talents to focus on in the early game anyways. It's much better to have all 3 of these extra companion slots, so you can immediately recruit all of your favorite free roaming companions before they get snatched up. Troop limit. Max this out. I already mentioned why it's so good. Difficulty. This only becomes relevant after you complete the main story quest and you're confident in your skills in subsequent playthroughs, where your only goal is to complete the main quest within 120 days. This is actually very difficult, but it is honestly the end-game challenge that Sands of Salzaar provides. Each time you accomplish this, you can increase the difficulty, but you also increase your max character level and unlock better and better gear options and skill builds at max level. The game really starts to shine and become more and more fun the higher you get with this difficulty legacy setting. Sands of Salzaar has great replayability and enjoyment because of this feature. As you can see, it increases default hero level and the hero level cap. Also, it increases gear drop scales with difficulty. So you honestly don't even get to experience the best things this game has to offer until you get this difficulty higher. Faction favor. All of these factions, okay? This may be necessary at higher difficulties, when you have fewer and fewer days to spend getting your reputation up by doing stupid quests for them. As I unlock the higher difficulties, I'll upload more content and let you know if it's necessary to increase your favor here to make finishing the main story quest faster. Squad selections. Threnody, Tasha, and Omar. Okay, the quests to unlock all of these options in the Squad Legacy section are from quests that you complete in the game. Like the rest of the Legacy features, you only need to do their quests to unlock them once, and then you have them on the rest of your playthroughs. Of all of these selections, you can actually recruit all of them in the game as companions like normal, except for Threnody, Tasha, and Omar. Okay, I highly suggest always taking Thrinity. Her passive ability, also known as her command ability, gives the best team buff in the game. It's called Arcana, you can see it second from the top there. It gives all Arcana units a 15% chance to freeze the enemy with every attack, and this applies to hero companions as well as troops. It's completely overpowered and is essential for the higher difficulties. Omar is kind of bad, generally not worth spending points on, and Tasha is also not great. However, because you can recruit the others in this game as normal, at the much higher difficulty levels that you unlock with the difficulty setting that I was just talking about, it may be necessary to take more companions with you to get that early start without being absolutely destroyed by even the normally weakest enemies. So, while I normally wouldn't recommend taking Tasha or Omar, you may need to on the higher difficulties. If I'm still playing and uploading content for this game in the future, I'll be sure to show you a high difficulty run and some strategies for how to do that. Okay, Sherpa. We already talked about this. More inventory slots is just helpful. That being said, it might be best to save this for those odd points that you have left over. The potions. Hold on. At in-game, many of the best gear has insane stat requirements to equip, and the best items will be simply unusable. This can be extremely frustrating, but becomes less of an issue as you unlock higher difficulties and get a higher max character level. However, these stat potions can help you get your stats high enough to qualify for those high-end legendary gear requirements without as much effort. Skills. You only get 6 skill slots, so just because you spend your legacy points on these awesome skills doesn't mean you'll get to use them. Be very careful when selecting skills, and you should know how many skill slots you have available based on your chosen character's best skills and how many skill points you're going to have left over after maxing out their skill tree. For instance, here, the best skill that you can get out of this entire tree is this one right here. We talked about this already. The Spirit Witch has an amazing skill tree, okay? Only one of her 6 skills is unusable, or at least not as great. And she also has a Great Storm Arcana tree, with 3 great skills in that one as well. So, she is a fantastic character that actually doesn't even need a single skill from this legacy selection. The only skill I recommend taking on the Spirit Witch is this Deceptive Totem skill, because it's one of the best skills in the entire game, and synergizes very well with the rest of her Spirit Witch kit. That actually concludes the section of the video for getting the best start in the game. Now let's discuss some general tips that will make the game much easier and more enjoyable. Okay, and now we come to the general tips part of the video. The settings is what I want to start with here. If your computer is having frame rate dropping issues during big battles, one way to counter that is not just by, fiddling with these to make these better, but also by coming here and reducing max battle size. This is also a secret, kind of a hidden cheat, and a way to reduce game difficulty. For instance, if your force only has 100, and this is set to max, and the enemy has 200, which can definitely happen as you start sieging towns at the end game, you will start the battle at a significant disadvantage because your forces can quickly get overwhelmed. However, if you both only have 100 troops on the field at a time, okay, right, come on, whatever, it won't be perfect. That's okay. There we go. If you both only have 100 troops on the field at a time, you're not in danger of being overwhelmed. They simply have more reinforcements than you do. However, if you have enough healers to sustain the damage of the enemy troops, there's no way they can beat you, even if they have a lot more troops than you. However, this can backfire if you reduce it down to 40. It may be necessary for some people on older computers or laptops, but if you have more than 40 troops and you set the maximum to 40, some of your best troops won't even be in the battle to start with, and you can be overwhelmed by the enemy that way. Next, Quick Cast should be on for every skill type. Clicking on individual units to use every skill makes the combat in this game very clunky and terrible. Okay, the only way this game feels decent at all in combat, in my opinion, is by enabling all of these quick casts. Alright, next, after you're done with your settings, I'm going to go ahead and set this back to 100. I do have frame rate dropping issues when it was set to 200. So that's why I set it down to 100 to save frame rate. I don't want to save. I saved here. Anyways, okay, so back. The quests in this game can be frustrating to complete sometimes. The location tracking for the map is inconsistent. That being said, when it does exist for some quests, it's very helpful. You can use it by going to your quest tab and then clicking on the quest. So for instance, these don't have locations, but this one does. So if you go here, it shows you where you need to go. Sometimes this just shows you the quest giver. For instance, it may not look like this. It may just show you exactly who you just got the quest from, and that doesn't really help you. So this is generally when you're trying to track someone down to either, get some gold back from them or just teach them a lesson. To find them, you just need to know what section of the map they are in, and then you can look at the towns from the world view. Okay, so when you're talking to the quest giver, they'll say, I want you to go get this gold back from this person, or Utar as they call it. And go get this, Utar back from this person. They owe me a lot of Utar. But they'll only tell you what section of the map that they're in. So for instance, they will only tell you Twin Luna Valley. This person is in Crying Rock, or this person is in the Zagros Mountains. And you're like, how does that help me? I'm supposed to find this one person to get Utar back for you out of this entire map right here, this whole section? Yes. That's literally how bad the translation is sometimes. They want you to go look for this one person, and all they tell you is they're in the Zagros Mountains. Okay? There is a way to make this easier, and there is a way to find this person faster. Okay? And this is by looking at the world view and then find out what town they're based at. Sometimes you can go here and see how it says the ruler is Ifrit commander. So basically when I started a war with everybody in this save, the Ifrit commander started coming out and taking over everything. So he owns this village. But if I go over here, Yusuf owns this village. Also, character is Astrid, right? And the squad is Dib, right? So you can find by looking at these names, sometimes one of the rulers recursive G, and I put Thrinity here. So anyways, you can come here and look at these towns, and sometimes the names will give away what town the target that you're looking for is based at. And then you can just go to that town, okay? When you go to that town, now this one's owned by me, so it's not the same. If I went to a different town, but I own most of the map. So when you go here and you're looking for your target, you come to this town, you're like, they're running around here. They could be anywhere around this town. See this red dot in the map, you're gonna like, oh, I want to go find them. No, that's not them. You go look for somebody else on the map, looking for a blue one. So it just could take you a while, right? It'd be very frustrating. But as soon as you get here to this town, go to the tavern. Sometimes they will show up here, and you can just click on them in here and then just complete the quest. Okay, so always check the town, check the tavern, and then sometimes, depending on the target, they could even be in the tribal hall. Okay, so take the tavern and the tribal hall, and you might find them in the town. You can also do some save loading. You can do a quick save with F5 on your keyboard. You can save and then reload, right? So you reload the save and check again. They might be in the tavern now, or they might be in the tribal hall now. Okay, because it changes when you reload where they are and their location in the world. It's kind of randomized. Let's say I'm looking for Rawal. If I just came here and then just started running around, I would have completely missed him because he's not there. He's right here. Okay, so remember to check the town, the tavern, the tribal hall before you go running around. Sometimes it's even more difficult than that, though. Sorry about that. Hold on, I had to find out where I am in the script. Alright, sometimes they are not based at any town at all, so the only way to find them is by doing the following. Go to your party tab, click on one of your companions, click on dialogue, then select, can I talk to you about something? And then select, I have a question about someone. Okay, then select the target that you're looking for. Okay, be sure not to skip through this because it's usually only one paragraph long. And then she says, I heard they were close to Crying Rock. Okay, this is going to give you an example of what I'm talking about. She told me that they're in Crying Rock. I click map, I go to world view. Guess what? Crying Rock is this whole section, all these towns. They could be anywhere in here, so that doesn't really help me. But it does give me a starting point if I don't remember based on the quest text, and the quest text doesn't tell me. Sometimes you come in here and it won't tell you what town, or even that they're in Crying Rock. You're like, it only gives you a target name, and that's literally all they tell you. It's so frustrating. So You have to go to your party, you have to talk to somebody, you have to give them the target name, and then they tell you they're in Crying Rock. Okay, so that doesn't help you because you still don't know what town. Let's say you know they're in Crying Rock, but their name isn't on any of the towns. So how are you supposed to find them if you don't know what town to go to? At this point, you just have to go to a random town. So this isn't the very worst case scenario, but this does happen occasionally. In this situation, you go to a random town and you talk to that tavern. If you're, let's say it's a local target. Okay, so it's like, if I could put it into different terms, you're looking for information from a local, right? They're going to know more than one of your companions who doesn't live there, right? So when you go to one of these towns in Crying Rock and you talk to them, you do the same exact thing. You talk to this guy. You say, can I talk to you about something? You do the whole thing. I have a question about someone, right? And then you do the exact same thing. He will have more specific information on their location in the town that they're based out of than your companions do, or the quest giver does. So if you're really having a hard time finding somebody for one of these quests, go to one of the local towns to where you know they are, and then ask somebody local, and they will give you more specific information than just close to Crying Rock. Okay, that's the last way and the only way I've found to find out what town they're based out of if they're not assigned to a town on the world map. All right, what's next? All right, Tavern Brawling missions. Oh my god, these were the most frustrating. I couldn't complete them. I lost so much reputation with quests going incomplete because I could not find the targets. So the way they make it sound, they want you to get revenge because they were cheated when the brawler used dirty tricks. The quest description makes it sound like they are walking around the town and you need to find them like the rest of your hunting quests. Then sometimes when you click on the tavern, good, he's not going to attack me. I thought I might have a battle interrupt me. Anyways, when you click on the tavern, you may not see them because it tells you what tavern to go to, what city to go to, which is helpful. But when you get there, you may not see the target in the tavern, right? Or even if you do see the target in the tavern and you click on them, because it'll say brawler or it'll say wrestler or something like that, and then it'll have the name of your target you're looking for. When you click on them, all they'll say is something about you just fight in the middle, and they'll, what's the word? Challenge you if they think you're worthy. Right, so this quest text is all very misleading, and it took me forever to figure this out. You need to click this little beer icon at the bottom of the tavern. Okay? Just click the little beer icon that says challenge. If your quest target is supposed to be at this town's tavern, even if you don't see them here, they will be the only person who shows up when you click the beer icon. Okay? Don't worry about fighting multiple people before the quest target shows up. If the quest tells you what town and what tavern they are in, just go to there, click the beer icon, do the fight, win, and the quest will be complete. All right, so now we come to the last general tip of the video, the town treasure rewards. Remember I said these were some of the most difficult legacy rewards to get. There's a lot of them too, right? All of these town treasure rewards. So it's not enough to just conquer the town. For instance, this is the Golden Bazaar. This is one of the targets. After you conquer the town, you have to become the sultan of it, right? So keep it for yourself initially. Don't send one of your companions to take it over. Remain as the sultan to start with. Go to the tribal hall, and then click on the Secret Realm's Mysterious Witch, who will charge you 2,000 will charge you 2,000 Utar and 15 Jade to fight a legendary boss that can give you endgame rewards. However, because it is so expensive to do so, and because it has a 30-day timer, it can be very expensive to do. So consider save loading if you don't get a decent reward, and just do it over and over until you get something good. Otherwise, that's 15 Jade wasted, and you have to wait another 30 days. All right, so let's go ahead and pick my team, and we're going to fight this legendary boss. I'm going to summon my pets. And then I'm going to start debuffing them and hitting them. This is going to be a difficult one, I can tell. Okay. Alright, looks like we barely got him. Whew, tough. Big phoenix, that was cool looking. Alright, so I did 34,000 damage. My companions also did pretty well. Okay. As you can see, we almost died though. Another 10 seconds and I would have lost that. So they're not easy. I got a legendary weapon. Awesome. Very cool. Okay, let's take a look. Sort inventory, and it shows up This is it. The Beast Trainer Treasure Blade of Light. It's an epic dagger. Has physical attack 260. Reduces cooldowns by a lot, actually. That's excellent. And it has a skill called Call Falcon. Nice. It calls a companion, or not a companion, it calls a summon. Okay, that's excellent. So I don't need to use this. You can only fit 6 skills on your bar, guys. So if you've got your skill build, okay, let's look at our talents. Oh, no, sorry. Skills. So if I've got my skill build, right, and I've got my favorite 6 skills down here, and I don't have room for more, when I equip that weapon, it would show up as an additional skill, and I'd have to put it on my bar to use it. However, that's not true for your companions. Where's inventory? If I give this to one of my companions, a guy who can use a dagger. Oh, okay, so he needs 60 strength and he only has 40 strength. So he can't use it. And I don't think I have anyone else that uses a dagger. Everyone else uses swords and other types of weapons. Wait, oh, here's a dagger. She has, okay, so let's take a look. She has 120 strength. Excellent. She's one of the best companions in the game, by the way. Princess Bologna, I think her name is. All right, so let's compare. Very nice weapon. She already has one with 185 attack, but that's a lot less. She also has Accelerate on it, which I believe just increases her speed. And she has a spell called Flicker, which allows her to dash and then become evasive by 10% afterwards. Honestly, this new weapon looks much better. A lot more attack. It has reduced cooldowns, which is excellent. And it allows her to call a summon at level 3. So yeah, that's a massive upgrade for her. Okay, so when I put this on her, she gets the chance to use the skills attached to the gear that you give them. It doesn't take up a skill slot for her. So while that may be wasted on you, it's not wasted on your companions. So keep that in mind. All right, so that does it for the last tip in this video. When you're doing these town treasure rewards, you have to capture the town and then go to the tribal hall and talk to the mysterious witch. Spend the 15 jade and the 2000 utar to complete that legendary boss. And then once you beat the legendary boss, it doesn't matter what gear you get. As long as you beat that boss, you complete the legacy reward. And then you have all these towns to do that for. So like I said, it's very expensive. You have to farm a lot of jade to be able to complete all of these. So keep that in mind as you're doing your first playthrough, headed towards your second one where you get a chance to use all those legacy points. All right, and that does it for this video. If I forgot anything, please let me know in the comment section. Also, I just really love all of your comments, no matter what they are. Please feel free to comment anything. It really makes my day, and I promise I will read all of them and respond. Please like the video and subscribe to the channel. Stay safe, everybody. I'll see you in the next one.